Namaste. Welcome, dear friends, to the 15th class of the Bhagavad Gita. Let us begin our class with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Friend, Beloved God, Bhagwan Krishna, Jesus Christ, Maha-Avatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashay, Swami Shri Yukteswar Ji, Beloved Gurudev Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, Saints and sages of all religions, humbly we bow at thy feet. Beloved Lord Krishna, thou art the essence of everything. Help me to feel thee in every fiber of my being, in every wisp of thought and emotion. Awaken, my Lord, my heart, my mind, my soul, and make me one with thee forever and forever. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let us now invoke the presence of the Gurus by singing the hymn to Brahma, followed by a chant to Divine Mother, as it is the time of the blessed Navratri. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Brahmanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilakshayam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triguna-rahitam Sadgurum Tvam Namami. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Bandhu cha Sakha Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Let's all sit in a meditative pose. Let's close our eyes, raise up our gaze, the point between the eyebrows. And in the blankness of the mental sky, let's invoke the presence of Divine Mother and ask her to fill that space with her light. As the space of the universe is filled with the light of millions of suns and moons, may our mental sky be illuminated by the presence of Divine Mother. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do कहता तू है काली हे माँ जगदम्बे, कौन कहता तू है काली हे माँ जगदम्बे, लाखों सूरज चंदा तेरी काया से है चमकते, लाखों सूरज चंदा तेरी काया से है चमकते, कौन कहता तू है काली हे माँ जगदम्बे, कौन कहता तू है काली हे माँ जगदम्बे, लाखों सूरज चंदा तेरी काया से है चमकते, लाखों सूरज चंदा तेरी काया से है चमकते, who tells me thou art dark, oh my mother divine, who tells me thou art dark, oh my mother divine, thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine, thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine, thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine. Let's take a couple of moments of silence. Bringing ourselves completely to this moment, let us offer and surrender our life at the feet of our beloved Guru, at the feet of Lord Krishna, and at the feet of Mother Divine. Let us ask them to take charge of our life, to manage our every thought, our emotion, our breath. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So, dear friends, we resume our study of the Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 2. In the last class, we studied how Krishna is explaining to Arjuna about the nature of the soul. And he is telling Arjuna that the soul cannot slay, it cannot be slain, it is unchangeable, and that water cannot wet it, and fire cannot heat it or burn it, and it cannot be destroyed. And Krishna also tells Arjuna that the body is nothing but just a garment. Just as we change old clothes for new, similarly, the soul discards the old body, which is not useful to it anymore, for further spiritual growth. And it takes up new bodies, just like a garment, and so that the karma can be worked out in newer bodies. And to understand this, and I've brought two stories for you from the life of Buddha. This is two stories from the Dhammapada, and these are stories that that were told and retold, and it was during the time when Buddha was alive that these happened. And these do explain to us, in fact, they bewilder us, they can baffle us to the aspect of reincarnation. Unless we accept that reincarnation is a truth and a reality, the injustices of this world cannot be explained. The mysteries of life and death, of karma and of rebirth, it cannot be solved unless we accept the law of karma on the one hand, and associated with that is the law of reincarnation. So just reiterating the stories that I've brought for you. In one of the stories, it is said that the Buddha was teaching the dharma or dhamma to many people. And his personal assistant, Ananda, was watching as the Buddha was giving his explanations. And he observed that there was a set of few people who were very, very restless. So in fact, one of them was just, shaking the branch of a tree which was next to him where he was sitting. So all the time the Buddha was speaking and this man was busy just moving the branch of the tree. Then another person who was sitting next to that person was just, digging the earth with some stick or with hand or something like that. He just kept digging on the earth. A third person next to these two people was a person who, while listening to the Buddha, actually fell asleep. And even only in the initial part itself, that person fell asleep. And there was another fourth person sitting in line. And this fourth person was very, very attentively listening to what the Buddha was saying, and he was trying to assimilate what was being taught. So after the discourse was over, Ananda was very curious and he asked the Buddha as to why these people were behaving in such a way while such a great discourse was being given, because it is once in a millennia that, not even millennia, in eons of time, that a Buddha actually descends onto earth, that an avatar actually gives his teaching. And while this is happening, why are these people not so interested and they are getting involved in so different activities? So the Buddha quietly explained. He said that the man who was just shuffling the branch of a tree has been a monkey for many, many past lifetimes. Now, he did not say that it was the immediate past to this particular birth, but he just mentioned that this soul was in the body of a monkey for many incarnations together. And therefore, that habit of just moving the branches of a tree has stuck to him. And he still, even though he's in a human body, he still continues to do that. The other person, the one who fell asleep, the Buddha said that this soul has incarnated in the body of a snake so many times. And, just if we observe the pattern of a snake, let's say a python or something, it would eat and then it sleeps for a long time, eat and sleep for a long time. So this is what this person is. If there's something which does not really intellectually interest him, he would just go to sleep. And so that is why his behavior was like this. In his subconscious mind, all those past patterns of action were carrying forward. For the third person who was simply digging the earth with his fingers or with a stick, when Ananda asked Buddha that why was he behaving in such a way, the Buddha said that this soul has incarnated multiple times in the body of an earthworm. So all it knows and all it remembers when it is free is that it starts to play with the soil and it starts to dig the earth. And then, of course, the question came as to what about the person who was attentively listening to the teachings of the Buddha? And the Buddha replied that this soul has incarnated multiple times as a student of the Vedas or as the student of the scriptures. He has spent multiple lifetimes in concentrating upon the higher teachings. So it is a subconscious habit to be able to listen to the Dharma even in this lifetime. And it is a person like him who is going to be qualified or capable of, becoming a Sotapanna, means moving towards enlightenment in this life. So what this story is telling us is that, and why Master would always tell us that not to follow your subconscious habits, but to live each moment, in an alert manner. Do not live by your habit patterns alone. Be alert and alive in every minute, and because we don't know what we are carrying in our past subconscious, that whole iceberg which is under the surface of the water, we don't know what's hidden in there. So might as well, how do we counteract this tendency is that we live in a very, very alert manner in every moment. We analyze the situation consciously and take conscious intellectual decisions and not just live out of our habit patterns, whether it is good habits or bad habits. And therefore, Master said that he would never do anything out of habit. Now, this is a difficult proposition. To be alert 24 hours a day, means all your waking hours at least, is a difficult proposition. But then do we have a choice? If we want enlightenment, and enlightenment is pure awareness, means being conscious fully of not only your present, but even in fact past and future, being completely conscious of everything. If you become omnipresent, then you would be conscious of everything, you would be aware of everything. And here we are not even fully conscious of our own thoughts, we are not even fully conscious of how we are feeling at a certain point in time. So the first step and the duty of the yogi is to live moment by moment, and to be very alert about what he's thinking, why he's thinking, what is his goal in life, what is the direction, and is his life being organized around his goal or not? Or is he just allowing the time to pass by? Because all those subconscious tendencies, which we don't even know what they are going to take us on this path in a mechanical way. The other story, which is also, it echoes the same morale, means the same message, but it also tells about the good side of the habit patterns. So Buddha and his monks, we know, they used to go on alms rounds, and they would collect alms from people, and whatever food they would get, they would share with each other and have. So on one of his alms round with the monks, he met with a family, and the family treated the Buddha as if the Buddha was their son. In fact, they called their children, and they introduced the Buddha as their elder brother, and so on. So on multiple alms round, this particular family treated the Buddha just like their own son. Now, the monks who were accompanying the Buddha were really baffled, and they did not understand the behavior of this family, and also why the Buddha did not object to it, and he just went with the flow as this treatment of son-like treatment was happening to him. And so therefore the monks put this question to the Buddha as to why is this so? The answer that the Buddha gave was again very, very bewildering for us. And he said, for 500 lifetimes, this couple was my parent. For another 500 lifetimes, this couple was my grandparent. And for another 500 lifetimes, these were my uncle and aunt. So for multiple hundreds of lifetimes, they have treated me like the son. And that subconscious recognition lies in their mind. And therefore, they now also treat me as their own son. And I also, of course, why he doesn't mind, because he's an enlightened person and he understands how things are working. So again, this reminds us that how much of the subconscious can rule our life, and how important it is that we become extremely aware, alert in the moment, and make conscious choices in this life if we want to move towards enlightenment. If we want our subconscious to rule, then we can just live by our habits. In fact, most men, the daily activities of most men, 85% is subconscious, is habit bound. Only 15% of everyday life is a conscious choice. Now, the yogi has to bring this to 100%. So now why I have brought these stories right now is again because we just said that the soul leaves the bodies as garments. So reincarnation, having multiple lives, shedding the body, having another body, should not be shocking or surprising to the yogi who is looking for higher understanding, who is looking for spiritual knowledge, and who's looking for enlightenment. These should be part and parcel of your understanding. Otherwise, we can never understand life. All religions related to Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, all Oriental original religions believe in reincarnations, and therefore we must accept it in our stride and then ask ourselves, if reincarnation is a reality, then how do I want to live this life that I am leading? And of course, in the last class, we discussed how Krishna says that the present life, Master explained that this present life we are leading is a result of past karma. So how are we writing the book of our life? What are we thinking? How are we feeling? How are we acting? What are we speaking? Where is our attention? Watch out. Okay. Okay, so we move on to shloka number 24. Achedo ayam dayo ayam kledyo ashosya evacha nitya sarva gata sthanur achalo ayam sanatana. This means, in Hindi, आत्मा अछेद है, इसे जलाया या भिगोया या सुखाया नहीं जा सकता. आत्मा नित्य, सर्वव्याप्त, सदा शांत, स्थिर और सदा एक रूप है. The soul is uncleavable. It cannot be burnt or wetted or dried. The soul is immutable, all permeating, ever calm, and immovable, eternally the same. Okay, so let's go on to Master's explanation of this. And I will, of course, read out from his commentary and then we will discuss what this means. Master says, the paradox of delusion is possible because man as a mortal is a mixture of the changeless soul and the changeable body. If he wants to permanently avoid all forms of misery, he must learn soul identification. Now, this is a very, very important point to ponder. Now, Master is saying all humans are a mixture of two things. Jad, Chetan means matter and consciousness. Consciousness or the soul self is the unchanging reality, and matter or body is the changeable reality. And all of us are a combination of both. And let us understand this a little scientifically. Now, all those who have studied physics, even till, till class 10th, you would know that photons of light have a dual nature. Means every photon exists both as a wave as well as a particle. Now, this is true not only for photon, but this has been proved for all subatomic particles, including the quarks. Means if we go to electrons and we further break it down and we go to the smallest unit, all of those smallest units are supposed to have a dual nature of being. What is that dual nature? Consciousness or a field-like existence and a particle-like existence together. So again, Jad and Chetan are existing together. Now, how does this apply to a human being? Now we are also a combination of the field of existence. What are the qualities of the field of existence? There are eightfold qualities, the aspects of consciousness. What are those? Love, joy, peace, calmness, power, sound, light, all of those, wisdom. So we use that field of consciousness, and on that is superimposed the atoms of our body. So and not only when yogic science talks of matter, it does not only talk about the atomic particles of the physical body, but it also includes the lifetrons of the pranic body, and it includes the thoughttrons of the causal body. So all of this particle arrangement is superimposed on a field of consciousness. Now think of your life without the field of consciousness. So can human life exist, or would it have any meaning if there was no love, joy, wisdom, power, light, sound, and so on? It would just be a collection of material matter, a robot without any function, without any use, without the leela that is happening. None of that is possible. And similarly, now the field of consciousness, interestingly, can exist even when the collection of particles does not exist. So the ocean exists whether or not waves exist or not. But all of us, now think of yourself. You are this body, which is matter, and you are using love, friendship, joy, wisdom, all of that, which are qualities of pure soul and consciousness, you are using in your daily life. Therefore, you are a combination of the soul qualities as well as matter. Now, the problem arises that we forget that we are consciousness, and we focus only on our material existence. We think that I am this body. I am the mental traits of this personality. So I get lost in this and I forget the real understanding of my absolute existence, which says I am pure consciousness, I am the soul. And this is the point that Krishna is trying to drive into Arjuna, that you are truly the soul. And yes, you are right now, the soul is enlivening and living through this particular body-mind instrument. But that is not who you are. Okay, so the problem with all of us is that we focus too much on the body. Now, how do we shift our association or identification from the body to the soul? And the answer is very easy. That is why the guru comes into your life. That is why he brings in techniques like Kriya Yoga. And with techniques like Kriya Yoga, you are able to withdraw your prana, and you are able to reduce your engagement with this world of matter, and you are able to turn your attention inside towards your soul self. So without the guru or without the technique, the ego or the lay person stands nowhere, because the gulf between the ego and the soul is so big that it cannot be crossed or transcended by your own self. That is why you need a guru on the path to enlightenment. Okay, let's move on. What does Yogananda say then? He says, now, no matter how much one has been meditating, if he still becomes overwhelmed with bodily suffering, or if he still is afraid of disease or death, this means that he has advanced little and has realized little. Therefore, the aspirant must meditate deeper and deeper until he can attain ecstatic communion with God and thus forget the limitations of the body. During meditation, he must not only think, but realize that he is formless, omnipresent, omniscient, far above the bodily change. Now, this is a challenging situation. Master is saying that if you still think when you're in bodily pain, you are still identifying only with that, or you are still afraid of death, that means you have advanced very little on the spiritual path. Now, all of us need to introspect now here. Where are we? We have been practicing our meditation techniques, but at least to some degree, when a physical sickness comes or a mental difficulty comes, are we able to distance ourselves mentally, become a sakshi or a witness of the bodily changes, or are we so overwhelmed by the bodily sickness that we become completely helpless? So if that is the case with us, then we need to increase our meditation. Very simple. We need to dive deeper into our daily meditation, because only by meditation will you have the first-hand experience that you are the soul. And once you have the first-hand experience that you are the soul, then automatically your attachment and identification with the little body is going to loosen its grip upon you. So let me make this a little personal, this particular stanza. As I was reading this, I was completely amazed as to how Master completely understands each one of us. So as you all know, I was on pilgrimage, and after I came from the pilgrimage, it so happened that the body fell sick. And so I was trying to, and had recently read this because I was preparing for class. So I was asking myself, and I introspected a lot as to where do I stand? And I realized that I am fluctuating between the ego and the soul. And of course, there are times that when I'm crying out in pain in whatever way, and there are other times when by the help of the guru and by his teachings, I'm able to relatively stay calm and become a witness. So what are the things, the tools that we can use to come to our soul realization even when we are sick? So these are the things that I did, and I learned all of them from Master. Now, remembering the story of Master where a big stone of the wishing well fell on his feet, and he immediately winced with pain, but then he said, let me show you how to rise above pain. And in that instant, he focused at the point between the eyebrows, and with his upraised gaze and focused energy, his face completely was calm and he was not feeling any pain. And then he said, okay, let me bring my consciousness down. And as soon as he brought his attention down from the spiritual eye, again his face showed, he was winced with pain. So this is exactly what I also tried. And as I was having some difficulty in breathing and whatever little flu-like things that was happening, so I focused at the spiritual eye. And I tried to relax into the space of the spiritual eye. And just as Master has promised, the more we can relax into the spaciousness of our own being. Now, let me tell you now, you're not going anywhere. You're basically relaxing into your soul self. That's all you're doing. And as long and as deep as you can do that, you will find that this is an escape route from bodily suffering. It can lessen the suffering, it can reduce the frequency, the intensity, and you can feel, comfortable at that point in time. The other tool that I used in this time was deep diaphragmatic breathing. Now, becoming a witness of your own breath and focusing entirely on the rising and falling of the abdominal wall with diaphragmatic breath helps so strongly to take away your attention from the aching body to just the level of your astral body, in the sense the movement of prana in your body, and of course the mechanical movement of the abdominal wall. It is a very powerful technique, and this also helps, to get away from bodily suffering. In fact, you can also try it during a mental, panic attack, or if you're having too much worry and fear in you, try doing very long and deep diaphragmatic or abdominal breath, and you will find that instantly your problem can be relieved. Also, the best thing is to have an equal length of inhalation and exhalation as you do your diaphragmatic breath. The third tool that I used was practicing Hong Sau. Of course, focusing at the spiritual eye, relaxing into that space, and practicing Hong Sau. And that also really, really helped me. But then, as I said, there were times when I was in the ego, of course, and I was, wincing with difficulty, with bodily pain, and so on. So what did I do that time? From Jnana Yoga, I immediately switched to Bhakti Yoga. So in that moment when I'm thinking that, oh, I'm this little personality and this little human being who's suffering bodily, I simply called upon Divine Mother. I cried in my heart, in my mind, to Divine Mother. I told her that she has to take charge of my life, that I am her child, and she has to help me out. So in that moment, you can do japa, or you can do prayers from your heart. So you can switch between Bhakti Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So this realization that you are the soul, and when in the ego, calling upon the Guru or Mother Divine or to Krishna or to whatever Ishta you really believe in, and you will find that your trouble will be alleviated. And let me tell you, after that prayer that I made to Divine Mother, within a couple of hours, I was like, a great percentage health improved. And I think it was just the beneficence of Divine Mother. She just listens. She's just right there behind our own thoughts. She's just waiting for us that we call her with love. And she immediately gives us her blessings. So again, why am I discussing my personal experience? Is because here Master is saying that if you are still afraid of death, or if you are still involved with your bodily troubles when you are sick, then you have not advanced much. And therefore, these are the tools and techniques that all of us can use in times of physical sickness or in times of mental difficulty or obstacles that come into our life. Okay. So this brings us to shloka number 25. And this is what Krishna is saying. Avyakto ayam chintyo ayam vikaryo ayam uchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitur marhasi. इस आत्मा को अचिंत्य, अव्यक्त और अपरिवर्तनीय कहा जाता है, इसलिए इसे ऐसा जानते हुए तुझे शोक नहीं करना चाहिए. The soul is said to be imponderable, unmanifested, and unchangeable. Therefore, knowing it to be such, thou should not lament. So, direct instruction by Krishna to Arjuna: do not lament, do not grieve, do not complain. Why? Now look at your own life. Do I grieve and do I complain? Every day. This is part of my normal human existence. But Krishna is saying, no, you are not to grieve. You are not to complain and you are not to lament. So how do I come to that point where I stop complaining and I stop grieving and I stop lamenting? Because unless I realize I am the soul self, I will not be able to rise above this complaining and this grieving and this lamenting. Okay, so let's understand what the Guru is telling us. So here, interestingly, we must, how do I separate my soul self from my body, from my breath, from my mind? It is not as difficult as we may think it is. Now, let us do this simple experiments. For whoever of you can, let us just take a moment to sit in the meditative pose. Let's close our eyes and let's gaze deeply at the point between the eyebrows, or just gaze upwards if that is comfortable for you. Now, just be conscious of the sounds around you. There are sounds around you. Maybe the fan is whirring. There's the sound of the AC. Maybe some, person going outside on the road, the traffic. So all of those things, think of those sounds and the objects that are creating those sounds as the object which are in your awareness. So who are you? You are the subject who is aware of all these sounds and the objects that are making these sounds around you. Okay? So now, just open your eyes for a second and look down upon your body. And then close your eyes again and think of your skin. Now see the skin as an object in your awareness. You are aware of the skin. You, the witness, or the pure consciousness, is aware that skin exists, but the skin is not aware of you. So the skin or the parts of the body can be considered as an object to your subjective awareness. You are the witness, the subject, and the body and its parts are objects which are in your awareness. Then let's take a step deeper and just start to watch your breath. Feel your breath and watch your breath. Now again, separate yourself, the subject or the witness, and the object or the breath. You are aware of your breath. The breath is not aware of you. So the breath can be considered as an objective reality, and you are the pure witness or the saksha of your breath, and you are the actual absolute reality. The breath is changing, but you as the witness is unchanging. Now go a step further in and note any feeling or emotion that you have in you. It could be a worrisome, a fearful, a happy, or any kind of emotion that is there. Now again, separate the two realities. See the emotion as an objective reality. It's an object of which you, the witness, you, the consciousness, is aware. These are two separate entities. You are pure, changeless witness consciousness, and the emotion is a changing objective reality. Now go one step further in and watch the thoughts that are going on in your mental sky. Some thoughts may say, oh, I have this work to do. One thought is saying, this work is more important. One thought is saying, I have a vacation. Again, immediately step back from the thought and separate the two realities. You are the pure, unchanging witness. You are aware of the changing thoughts. The thoughts are not aware of you. So therefore, you, the subject, the soul, the pure awareness, is an absolute reality that exists as the substratum of all your experiences, and all else, that includes your thoughts, your emotions, your breathing, your body, and all the processes of the body and the outside world, is a changing objective reality. And this distillation, this discrimination, if we do this again and again, and let me tell you, it's not easy to just analyze like this. Intellectually, it does appeal to you that, yes, it appears to be right, but how do I realize it? To be able to realize this reality, you have to do the techniques that the Guru has come to you with. The techniques are there for a reason. Or being in attunement with the teachings of the Guru, following the techniques, the yogic techniques, the meditation techniques that the Guru has given. By doing that over and over and over again, we keep coming back to this realization that, oh, I am the witness, unchanging consciousness. But if we do not follow the technique, then what happens? Then the mind is so restless that it will obscure this reality of your witness consciousness. So therefore, all the yogic techniques, all the Patanjali's Ashtanga yogic path, which is there, which starts from Yama and Niyama and ends in Samadhi, all of that helps us to settle the movements of the mind, the emotions, the movement of the breath, and the restlessness of the body. With those techniques, when all of this is settled down, then the soul will shine on its own. Because we are the soul all the time at all places. We are already the soul. But it is obscured by the layers of our other temporary and transactional existence in mind, personality, body, breath, and so on. That is why yoga aims at going towards breathlessness, going towards thoughtlessness, because then automatically our soul self will shine. Okay. Let's move on further. Okay. It is also important for us to understand the difference between the soul and the ego. So we said that the spirit is omnipresent existence, consciousness, and bliss, ever new, ever existing, ever new joy. And the soul is an individualized aspect of that same ever new joy, but it is limited to a body. And when this soul is identified with the body, then it becomes a separate ego. It starts to think that this little I is the doer, it is the experiencer, and then it operates through its brain and nervous system into this world. So, it is important to understand that there are two levels of knowledge that we all operate with. Now, most of us will operate from the knowing of this world. So we are using the brain, the nervous system, and the senses to collect data from this world, to analyze that data, and to understand this world. So this kind of knowledge is a transactional knowledge, and the knower of this knowledge is the ego, because ego is thinking that it is this mind, personality, and body. And here in Sanskrit, this is called pramata, means the knower of this world, the knowledge of this world. This is pramata. But the higher perception is from pramata, we have to become the knower of the soul, means we have to become sakshi. We have to become the pure witness, where this knowledge is the higher knowledge, which tells us that we are the soul. And again, it is a realization that comes one-to-one to every devotee with his or her expanding intuitive understanding, and it comes by the grace of the Guru. So we are all pramatas working in this world, but from pramata, we have to become the sakshi, means the one who can perceive and realize that he or she is a genderless, formless, omnipresent soul. And how does this shift again happen? From how do we become a sakshi from a pramata? Is we withdraw the energy from the senses. Therefore, we limit the data that the senses are carrying from the outside world into our brain and nervous system. And then we purify our heart by the practice of Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga. And once our heart is purified and the energy is turned within, our mental attention is turned within, then automatically with an intuitive change, and of course the grace of the Guru, we understand that realization, like a key, will dawn upon us that, oh, I am the soul. And in fact, I always was the soul. That this thought that I am this little mind and body was a delusion. I was always the soul. I can be nothing else but the soul, and I shall always be this soul. And that is the state of self-realization, and that is the state we all want to achieve, because that is the state which will help us to rise above all suffering, to become free in our own blissful self and our existence. And therefore, the techniques and the teachings given by the Guru are imperative. They are most essential, and you cannot bypass them, because it is to our own benefit to be able to follow. In fact, the fact that we have drawn a great master into our life, into the orbit of our life, a great Guru has come to guide us. We must utilize this blessing in this life, and let us remember the stories that we discussed at the beginning of the class. 500 lifetimes, hundreds of lifetimes doing one particular thing, being an animal, being in a particular situation. Life is going to repeat itself like a game, like a drama, until you decide that I've had enough of this game of snakes and ladders, and that I intend to be free in this lifetime. And if I intend to be free, then what do? I might as well follow the footsteps of my Guru, because my Guru has specially come to hold my hand and take me to freedom. And if I don't utilize this opportunity, then he only knows, or God only knows, how many more lifetimes I have to keep going on cyclically to just doing the same thing. And don't think your life will be better, some other incarnation, when you have more money, when your children are better, when you're better placed, when you have a better spouse, when your neighbors are better, then you will work for enlightenment. The only change that can be brought in your life is by you yourself. Why not now? Bring that change now. Decide what you want, and then organize your life according to that. Okay. So, some beautiful words by Yogananda. He says, God sent man to earth to be entertained by the bodily dreams, not to obscure his consciousness of immortality by being identified with the body. The advanced student should meditate deeply until his thoughts become dissolved into intuition. In the lake of intuition, free from the waves of thought, the yogi can see the unruffled reflection of the moon of the soul. So, this is so beautiful that if we can remove the restlessness of the mind, then in the very same mind which is now suffering and is so involved with the world, the very same mind will become like a still water, or will become like a clean mirror in which the soul or the sun will be automatically reflected. And that is when we are going to be realized. And Master is warning us, he's saying this is a drama going on, and you have not been sent to be identified with your body, mind, your role. You are to be entertained and educated. So, are we actually being entertained, or are we just crying, crying, and crying? We are miserable. Why are we not entertained? Because we have desires in this world, because we are attached to the things of this world. And this world is impermanent, ever changing. Whatever you like will soon change. Whatever you dislike will also change. Now, the problem is you are attached to what you like. And therefore, when that is taken away from you, you are suffering. You were never supposed to be attached to it. You were never supposed to grasp it. But you didn't realize that. And because you are grasping this world, because you are having your personal desires, therefore, you are not able to understand that you have come here to be entertained. You want the things of this world, and this world is itself a mirage. The mirage water will never quench your thirst. The mirage has no capacity to wet even one grain of sand in the desert. How is it going to quench your thirst? The more you try to grab from this world, the more your happiness will elude you. Therefore, let go and come to the Guru's feet and follow his teachings. Okay. Now we come to shlokas number 26 and 27. These have been dealt together, so I will read them together. 26 first. Ath chainam nitya jatam nityam vamanyase mritam tathapi tvam mahabaho nevam shochitum arhasi. 27. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur adhrum janma mritasya cha tasmad pariharyerthe natvam shochitumarhasi. Meaning, तथापि यदि तुम इस आत्मा को सदा जन्म लेने वाला तथा सदा मरने वाला मानते हो, तो भी हे महाबाहो अर्जुन, तुझे इसके लिए शोक नहीं करना चाहिए, क्योंकि जिसने जन्म लिया है उसकी मृत्यु अवश्य भावी है, और जो मर गया है उसका पुनः जन्म होना निश्चित है। तब तुम अवश्य भावी के लिए शोक क्यों करते हो? But if thou dost imagine this soul incessantly to be born and to die, even in that case, O mighty armed Arjuna, thou should not grieve for it, for that which is born must die, and that which is dead must be born again. Why then should thou grieve about the unavoidable? Okay, so good question that we must ask ourselves. We know that youth is going to be converted to old age, but we will cry. I am getting old, my skin is failing, my teeth is failing, my hair are failing. All of us know it has happened to everyone before us. It is happening to everyone around us, but we are not able to accept the reality. Why? Is it not foolishness on our part? Every day people are dying. But when death comes to us or to one of the family members, then we are miserable. We have not accepted this truth that everybody is going to die. That is why we are miserable. And again, I'm remembering another story from the Buddha's life. Very interesting story. So there was this man who was very, very, educated and wise, and he was a follower of Buddha. And in his household, it was a tradition to commonly talk about death. Everybody would talk about topics like impermanence of life, that the death is impending, and then how one must wisely then live their life. And it so happened that the son of this man died. And it was found that the son and the family, this man is now on the cremation ground, and he is cremating his son. But the whole family is so poised that even Lord Indra from the heaven is bewildered. He comes down to the cremation ground and he asks this man, who is it that you are burning? And he says that this is my son. And Indra says, how can it be? Because I see no pain or grimace on your face, even your wife's face. I cannot see that. How are you so calm and patient when you are burning your own son's body? And that is when this man says that we have discussed this impending death as a reality, this impermanence of life as a reality almost every day. What is the use of crying if I call the moon and say, come down, moon, you must come down? I know it is not going to come down. Similarly, I know we are all going to die. Then why lament? Why grieve? You know that what has come to life will die. What is dying will come up again. So then how do we get beyond this coming and going? How do we get beyond this life and death? Is again identifying yourself with the soul instead of the changing body. Knowing that you are the changeless witness consciousness. Once in this lifetime, you can come to the understanding and realization that you are the immortal soul. Then the death of the body has no meaning. It will not cause grief to you, whether it is your own passing or it is the passing of a family member. Now, this does not mean that you are going to become stone-hearted. We have human hearts, but it is that you will be able to easily come out of your lamentation and grief. It will not be a prolonged grief because you have understood the reality of this fact that Krishna is trying to drive into Arjuna. And remember, when Krishna is saying to Arjuna, he is talking to all of us seeking devotees who are seeking the truth, who are asking this question, why should I fight the battle of life? Who are saying that, Lord, I cannot fight. I cannot fight my own inner tendencies, like Arjuna, who is giving up fighting. And Krishna is here explaining to us that this role that you are playing on earth is a temporary role. Understand your true reality as the changeless soul. Be entertained and educated by this drama of life. Do not be attached to this drama and do not have selfish desires as you play your role in this drama of life. Okay. And Krishna, Master, very simply he asks that question. What is the role or point of grieving? Now you have to introspect. All of you have to introspect. All of us have to introspect. Whenever I'm grieving for some reason, I must introspect. Why am I grieving? Why am I sad? Why am I emotional? Why am I moody? And the usual answer is that I have not accepted the truth of this life. I have not accepted life just as it is, and I am wishing that life was different than whatever it is right now. And therefore, I'm crying, I'm sobbing, I'm miserable. If I was to be wise enough to accept the life and its impermanence just as it is, I would not grieve. Just think about it. Two common things why we grieve. Number one, I have not got what I wanted. Number two, what I don't want, I have got. So I don't want pain, I have pain in my life. I want pleasure, I don't have pleasure in my life. And all of this is because ego. I want this, I don't want this. So again, let's come back to the 5 kleshas which we said were against self-realization, starting from asmita, I-ness, avidya, ignorance, in which you do not know that you are the soul. Third is abhinivesha. Abhinivesha means clinging to body existence. And then raga and dvesha, attachment and repulsion. These are the cause of our grief. And by the Guru's grace and by regular meditation, these obstacles or kleshas can be removed from our consciousness, and therefore our grief, our sorrow can end. And that is what is moksha is. Moksha is rising above freedom from all suffering. It's moksha does not mean that you will cease to exist. You will never die. The soul is immortal. We are never going to die. Our bodies may be left behind, but I, the witness consciousness, I, the pure awareness, I, the blissful existence, cannot perish. That is what Krishna is trying to say again and again. And that is why he's saying, why grieve? There is no use of lamentation. And of course, no, not lamenting for someone who is alive and someone who's dead. Both Krishna will say that. And just like we are, sometimes so attached to our children, even when they have to go out for a job, we know they are fine, we know they are on the other side of the planet, but it is our emotional attachment that will make us grieve. We know life has to go on, but we don't accept it. So is there a problem with life? Life is meant to be neutral. The problem lies in our reaction to what is happening. Now note this in your life. Suffering does not come from circumstances. Suffering comes from our reaction to all those circumstances. And therefore, the power of yoga and the power of the Guru lies in helping us to transcend and neutralize those waves of likes, dislikes, reactions. Chitta vritti nirodha. Yogas chitta vritti nirodha. So by the grace of the Guru, by his techniques, his teachings, and by our own self-effort, when we practice yoga with deep sincerity and with love and devotion towards the infinite, then this is like a mathematical formula, and we will reach to the realization of the self. It is possible in this lifetime itself Do not give excuses. Do not wait. And now is the time for self-realization. Now is the time to realize God. With that thought, dear friends, we will end today's class and we will share the power and blessings of these teachings with souls everywhere. Let us pray together. Divine Mother, beloved Lord Krishna, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing presence in all bodies, all minds, and all souls. Let's send out 3 ohms with love, joy, and the light of the Gita. Om. 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 Divine Mother, beloved Krishna, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.